Dr. Ronan Glynn, thank you very much for coming in to us. All this week, our audience have been sending us in questions for you. But before we get to answer those questions, I know you have a special message for the children of Ireland.
Sure, thanks Ashton, thanks for having me in, and thanks to all the boys and girls for putting in their questions this week, and we'll get to those in a minute. But I suppose I wanted to come in just to say a big thanks to all the children this year, because I know it's been a really hard year for them, it's been a really hard year for their parents, for their teachers, and we've been asking all of you to do so much. So we've been asking them to wash their hands, to keep their distance, not to mix and not to meet up with their friends, and we know how hard that's been, but it's made an enormous difference. Schools have done a really brilliant job over the past year, and I know there's a number of weeks yet to the end of the school year, but with all of the vaccines that we're now rolling out, the disease is under control. So things are really looking much brighter, and that's thanks to the efforts of everyone, but in particular I just want to say thanks to the children today for all they've done.
Very nice, thank you very much for that. Now we'll get to the questions that the children have sent in, and first we have a question on vaccines. We have a video message from Lakela Educate Together National School in Drogheda, County Louth.
We would like to know, will children have to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
That's, will children need to get the COVID-19 vaccine? And I have another question on vaccines from Ciara in Sligo. She asks, how long does the vaccine last and do we have to get one every year? So will they have to get it? How long does it last?
So we don't have the complete answers to those questions at the moment. So we have lots of different vaccines that are really safe and really effective at the moment. And the people that made those vaccines are currently checking to see if they're also safe to use in children. So that work is happening at the moment, and we'll know over the next few months what the results of that work is. And if it's safe and if it's effective and if we need to use those vaccines, then we will. But it won't be at least for another couple of months before we would start to look at that. Then I think there was a question about how long you're protected if you get the vaccine. So again, we're not quite sure, because the trials were only done and the studies were only done on the vaccines a few months ago, so we need to follow people over time. But I think what I would say to people is that these vaccines are really effective, and they're more effective than we could have dreamed that they would be, to be honest. And so I think it's reasonable to assume that they will give us long-term protection. We're not quite sure yet if people will need to get a booster or not, but we'll tell people about that if they do need to get one in the months to come.
And I have another video question now from 2nd, 3rd and 4th class at Dromore West Central National School in Sligo.
We have a question for you, Dr. Glynn. Is it really safe to hug our grandparents now? We would love an answer. Thanks. Bye! Bye!
So that's pupils there in Dromore West Central National School. Is it really safe to hug our grandparents? Because they're a bit confused about that.
Yeah, so the simple answer is yes, it definitely is safe. But there's a couple of things. So your grandparents should be vaccinated, and you yourself should be well. So if you have any symptoms of a cold, or if you don't feel well, then you shouldn't be hugging your grandparents. And that's the advice we would always give. But in basic terms, if your grandparents have been vaccinated, then yes, it's safe to give them a hug, as long as you're feeling well and they're feeling well.
We have a question now from Anu Walsh-Maguire, who wants to know, when can 2 unvaccinated families meet indoors?
So we think that will be possible in June. So just a few weeks' time.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer. And tell us now, Andrew Dunn asks, is outdoors the best place to meet extended family and friends? How is it so much safer? We know that it's a summer of outdoors, as the Taoiseach has said. Yeah,
so outdoors is much safer. And the reason it's much safer, put simply, is that outdoors you've got fresh air, you've got breeze and you've got wind, and that blows the virus away. So even if someone is breathing out the virus, the wind comes along and blows it away and stops it getting to other people. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good question, because the message that we've had for weeks now is to ask people, if you are meeting up with people, try to meet up with them outdoors. It's a much safer way to meet up with other people and keeps you and them safe.
And we have another video question now from Miss Keegan's 3rd class in Our Lady of Good Counsel Girls National School in Johnstown.
Will communions be able to go ahead this year?
So that's, will communions be able to take place this year? And we've had people asking about confirmations as well.
Yeah, and I know this is a really big thing for many children across the country. At the moment, all we can say is that they can't go ahead this month or next month. In other words, we don't want them to go ahead in May or June, but we will look at how things progress over the coming weeks, and we'll give more advice in a few weeks' time. But for now, they shouldn't happen in May or June at least.
Okay. I have another question now from Mr. Bowen's 3rd and 4th class at St Matthew's National School in Ballymahon in Longford, and they ask, when will different classes be able to mix and play together in school? And pupils in St Anthony's were also, in Ballinlough and Cork, were also wondering about that.
So one of the pieces of work that we're beginning to do at the moment is to think about what all of this means for schools in the next school year. So between now and when children finish up for their summer holidays, I don't think anything really will change. Everything that they're currently doing, we'd ask them to keep doing. But I think hopefully things will be in a much better place when they come back to school in September. And obviously we'll look at that, and we'll give lots of advice and guidance around that before people come back to school in September. And just the types of questions that were asked there are exactly the types of things that we'll be thinking about over the summer. And we'll let people know what to do before they go back to school.
So they have their finger on the pulse so far.
Do, yeah.
So Nadalti, Gaelscoil, Nahida and Gallav want to know, will we be allowed to go to any championship matches this year? Sport came up a lot as well for our audience.
Yeah, we certainly hope that people will be able to go to matches. So again, not in May or June, but I think we all hope that from July onwards we would start to see some people being able to attend outdoor events in particular, like matches, and then as we get through the summer, hopefully more and more people will be able to go to events like that.
I have a couple of questions now about indoor activities, because we know that children are back to outdoor training. So I have a question from Mia in Camross National School in County Laois. She says, when will indoor training start again? Vanessa Kristinich wants to know, when will in-person music lessons and exams be able to go ahead? And Robin in Raheen in County Laois wants to know, when will indoor activities like the cinema and gymnastics be allowed to go ahead indoors?
And these are really important questions for people, because those activities are so important to individual children. And so unfortunately for June, all we're able to say is that individual training can happen. So you can go inside to do a particular sport as long as you do that sport by yourself. But of course, that's not what people want to do. They want to do it in groups and do exercise classes and go training like they normally do. So as I said, for now, we're saying that can't happen in June. But again, we'll be looking at that over the next few weeks to see what might be able to happen in July. And we'll be coming back with more advice to people over the next 10 days, 2 weeks.
Okay, great. I have some questions now about, I suppose, indoor family gatherings. When will we be able to have sleepovers and trips with family and friends without having to cancel because of Covid-19? And that's from 5th and 6th class in Knoll National School. And I have a video question about birthday parties from Marian Ingijal.
Are we allowed to have birthday parties at our friend's house? Because my friend's birthday is coming up soon and I would love to go to her birthday party.
So that's, can sleepovers or birthday parties happen indoors?
So birthday parties, sleepovers shouldn't happen yet. For now, we'd say that if you want to have a birthday party, have it in your garden, have it outside. And really, we don't want more than 3 different families coming together at the moment outside. And that's just for the next while. Again, everything that I'm saying will improve and get easier in July, in August, as we get more and more people vaccinated and protected against COVID. So for now, I can't give definitives, but I would say if you're having a birthday party, if you want to meet up with people, try to do it outside. In relation to sleepovers, again, I would say not just yet, but again, hopefully over the next few months, those kinds of things will become possible.
I have a question now about travel. I have a video message from Megan in Holy Child National School in Larkhill in Dublin.
When do you think it will be safe to travel to other countries like Poland? I would really like to be able to visit my family there safely. Thank you.
So that's Megan and her class there. She wants to go see her family in Poland. When will travel be possible?
So the first thing to say that's really good is that it's not just in Ireland that the levels of the disease are coming down. They're coming down across most countries in Europe, and that's going to give us lots more options in terms of being able to travel. In addition to that, there's loads of work going on in Ireland and then across all of the other European countries to develop a new system which allows us to travel from one country to another country. But the key to that is that as many people as possible get vaccinated. So if you really want to travel later this summer, make sure that your parents or the people in your life who can get vaccinated go and get a vaccine. So I was on this programme a few months ago and I asked people to tell their parents to wash their hands. Now I'm telling people to tell their parents and everybody they know that they should get a vaccine to protect themselves and their families. And hopefully by July, by August, we'll be seeing the impact of that across Europe, and we will see people being able to travel again.
The next question I have is from Jed in St Oliver Plunkett's National School in Blackrock, County Louth, and he says, if animals can get COVID, why aren't they being vaccinated?
That's a really good question. So I think we only have limited supplies of the vaccine at the moment, so obviously we have to focus on vaccinating those who might get sick if they get COVID. And so we've started by vaccinating the oldest people in our population, and then we're working downwards to vaccinate everybody. I did look up some of the science around this because it's a difficult question. And what the science says is that while some animals can get COVID, they don't appear to get very sick with COVID. But basically all of the things we say about how to protect yourself also applies to animals. The key over the next few months is not to let your animal do anything that you wouldn't do as a family yourself. And I'm sure, we haven't had big stories of animals getting sick or anything like that. So it's not something boys and girls need to worry about over the next few months. The key is that we get all of our people vaccinated, and then there'll be much less COVID out there, and neither animals nor people will be at risk.
The next question I have is from Nathan Foley in Swords, and he said, thanks for telling us all about COVID-19 and how to stay safe. You've worked very hard and I've seen you on the news nearly every day for a year. But I want to know, if you get any time to relax, what do you like to do?
So there hasn't been much time to relax over the past year, unfortunately. And I have 2 children at home. So even when I'm at home, we're not really relaxing because there's a lot happening in the house. But we would do the same things that other families do. We go to the park, watch TV, watch a movie. But I'm really looking forward to the summer and being able to do lots more stuff that everybody else is also looking forward to doing over the next few months.
Of course. This is our final question now, and it's a video message from Eleanor in St Molaga's SNS, Balbriggan, County Dublin.
When will life be back to normal?
And lots of children ask that question, as you can imagine, and we're all wondering it really.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question for all of us. Again, I think the way children should look at this is that their summer will be pretty normal, and hopefully by the time they come back to school next year, most things will be back to normal. But it's really about, again, because I know it's the last question, just to say, like, things haven't been normal at all for lots of us over the past year. I think all of that hopefully is done with now, and from here on things are just going to hopefully get better and better and better. So I know people really want to do dance classes indoors. I know people really want to have sleepovers. I know people really want to go and travel. And thanks to all the work the boys and girls have done over the past year, and now the vaccine's getting rolled out, all of that's going to be possible. We just need to do it slowly and cautiously over the summer, but we are getting there.
Well, we had hundreds of questions in for you and we'd love to ask you them all, but we know you're very busy, so thank you very much for coming in to us. Dr. Ronan Glynn, Deputy Chief Medical Officer at the Department of Health.
No problem.